And greetings, heyo, welcome, Omni Dogs and Omni Kittens, to Ultimate Spider Days, where Omni Dog and the real Omni Dog go over Ultimate Spider-Man. We're doing a review of books 1 through 12.
I'm the fake Omni Dog.
Also,
I was one of the first fakes. I wasn't the first to take your photo.
Oh, you weren't?
No, I was one of the first. Someone else did, and they gave me the idea. So then I famously have stolen Jess's wedding photo. Which I'll be honest, one of the happiest days of my life, as I'm sure it was one of the happiest days of your life. But it's still, I hold it dear.
Was you stealing my picture?
Yeah. No. Your wedding. I have a feeling it
getting married, huh?
Yeah. What is your anniversary? I hope I didn't mess you up.
Beginning of September.
What year did you get married?
1989. We've been married 31 years this September.
Wow.
Yeah.
They said you'd never make it. Did they say that? I don't know. Was everyone happy for you?
No, I had a pretty good feeling that we would make it.
Yeah. How old are you? You're in your 20s, right?
Wait a second. No, I was 30.
Okay.
I was 30 and she was 34.
Okay. I got married later. I was in my 40s. Maybe just turned 40. So I highly recommend getting married later in life. I think you avoid some mistakes that way.
I couldn't have gotten married earlier. I was 30 was really young for me too. I was a very young 30. I was stupid and immature, and I can't imagine getting married at like 23 or 22 or something. I was a little kid at that age.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, you really. I think this next generation is learning that. I think they're. I don't know. Anecdotally, I know younger people that I do know are getting married later or seem to kind of like. And I think it's probably good. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, you make a lot of mistakes in your 20s. Your 20s, it used to be the teens, and now your 20s are your mistakes, and your 30s is when you kind of grow up and get a little more mature, and then 40s is when you start falling apart again. So it's that little hill.
Yeah, 40. That hill. Yeah, that's about right. In my 40s is when I started falling apart.
It's true. Yeah, I mean everything hurts.
I've been in pain ever since I turned 40. I think for 20 years I've been in pain.
I tell everyone, like, when I turned 35 was when like hangovers would last longer. You know, I used to be able to drink whatever I want, get up, work, do whatever. And then now it's like at 35, it was like almost literally to that day. It was just like, everything takes longer to get to heal from. So I try to take a little bit better care of myself. But
yeah, we have to do this show around your workout schedule.
It's true. I do work out. People wouldn't tell by looking at me, but I do try to. Although, as I told Jess, I'm suffering from a hurt shoulder, but I muscle through, and it doesn't prevent me from reading Ultimate Spider-Man in any way. We are still #1 in the new Ultimate Spider-Man show that's been on hiatus for longer than 3 months. So
that's right.
Keep those votes coming in. I don't know if anyone else is reviewing this 20-year-old book. I have the trade paper. I'll tell you one thing, man. I've had these trade paperbacks. I just buy them when they first came out. I clearly have not read. I think this is the first one that I've never read. You know, like this is all new material.
Okay.
But the trade paperbacks are so nice. They're thick paper, well put together. And I personally still get the Marvel thin trade paperbacks because I just can't wait for them to be collected in hardcover. So I still get a lot of them and I enjoy them. But man, the paper is so thin and they just have no substance to them.
Yeah.
And this book costs $15.99 new, so I'm sure this would be $20 now. But okay, so we are reading Venom. This is issues 33 through 39. We start off with
the first page that we start because hardcovers are different. The first page you've got there.
That's the cover. Cover, and then we have Peter lying in bed or on the hardwood floor. lamenting his breakup. Remember when he broke up with Mary Jane?
Lamenting his breakup. Right. Okay, right here.
And then Peter finds a VHS tape, and we spend like 70 to 80% of this book with Peter like talking, his dad talking to a VHS. I just fell asleep. It was so boring reading it, and it's super boring talking about it. I'm gonna cut right to the chase. Spoiler alert! I really, really hated this.
Really?
Yeah, hate's probably too strong, but yeah, just not one of my favorite Ultimate Spider-Man books.
Okay, so this is a brand new story to you.
Yes,
you hadn't read it before.
Never read it. I maybe someone in the well, we don't have chat, but in the comments can. I remember hearing and believing that Brian Michael Bendis never really wanted to do Venom, and was obviously forced to do it by Marvel, and so I don't think his heart was in it. And then also I kind of just Googled. There's like a Wikipedia page about Ultimate Spider-Man. You read it, and like Venom never comes back until like 140 issues in or something. Like Eddie Brock doesn't come. Spoiler alert. Yeah, so I don't know, and maybe that's just my memory of it. But like I remember hearing that Bendis wasn't really into this, and also a bit of my history. I started collecting comics right when Secret Wars was coming out, the original 1983. I think Mike Zeck drew it, and who wrote it? The head of the guy, Jim Shooter. Jim Shooter was writing it.
Okay.
And so that was right in the heyday of like my early collecting. And so that cover of like Peter Parker getting that black Spider-Man costume was just iconic to me.
Right.
And then I got super deep into the Amazon Amazing Spider-Man run of the Venom and the suit. The suit was so cool. And then when it turned bad, and then Eddie Brock ended up turning into Venom. I don't know. So that's a real milestone for my comic book collecting life. So I was excited to see what he was going to do with this, and then super disappointed in what he did with this. What did you think?
It's brand new to me. I haven't read any of the Ultimate Spider-Man. I know Spider-Man is probably the character I have the most working knowledge of in the Marvel universe. So I understood. I know the original Venom story, and I know the original Gwen Stacy stuff. I really enjoyed just how different it was. I think what I enjoy is how different this Ultimate universe is. How different the stories are. Like Eddie Brock and Peter are childhood buddies, and their fathers are working together.
Yeah, so the plot is basically Peter finds like an old box of stuff.
Yeah, let me show the part while you tell this.
Yeah, so he finds a VHS tape of like young Peter Parker with his friend, his dad's work co-worker's son, Eddie Brock. And so then we find out through the course of the story that Eddie Brock is going to school in New York. I don't know exactly, going to college.
State, I think.
Yeah. And it turns out that Peter Parker's dad and Eddie Brock's dad were both scientists, and they're working on this. We don't really know until we find out later that, and then they were both killed together in a plane crash along with both mothers. And so Eddie Brock and Peter Parker have become orphans together. And so Peter Parker looks up Eddie Brock, and Eddie Brock's a science major, and he's working with Doc Connors. And that was weird too. This is later on, but did you notice that have we seen Doc Connors and the Lizard yet?
I don't remember that.
I'm 99% certain we have not. But then they had like this really weird like cutaway to like them meeting before, and then they show like this flashback in one panel of so we see Doc Connors with his one arm, and he's got this lab coat tied up, and then he says, we've met before or whatever, and then there's like the Lizard like in this one panel, and I was like, have I read this? I've never read this, so I have no idea.
The problem is we read books 1 and 2 like back in January and February.
But I'm 99% certain that we didn't have a Lizard story. I remember the bad guys. It was a Green Goblin, and then it was the Craven, and then Doc Ock, and
Yeah, I
There's
don't.
also another. He interacts with another bad guy, and he says something about you again. And I can't remember. This guy was he like. It was like a regular crime thing. Oh man, I'm embarrassing myself.
No,
There
that's
was
all right.
there was some stuff in here that I was like fairly certain that I'd read all these issues, but then there was like stuff that I had not read or that they were alluding to right here, like this guy. Who is this guy? Right? And
Yeah,
then so
you're moving around. I couldn't see it.
sorry.
Who am I looking at? The guy in the top?
Yeah,
Oh,
the bad
yeah.
guy.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, the vibrator shooting guy.
Yeah.
I think
And they allude to like they've seen each other before.
I feel like he was a bit player in an earlier story. Like he was seen maybe going up against the fake Spider-Man or something. I don't.
Because right here he says, "I know you," and he goes, "You again," you know, and it's just like, yeah, you're right. Maybe he was part of another crew that was with the Kingpin or something. But
Yeah.
anyway, we're jumping around a lot, but this is actually Peter Parker enraged in turning Venom.
Which I thought was interesting. I thought that was cool that Peter was the first Venomized guy.
So we'll back up a little bit. So Eddie tells Peter that he and his dad, Peter's dad and Eddie's dad, were working on a project that they ended up getting fired over, and there was, long story short, is that turned out to be Venom. They're supposed to cure cancer for some reason, right?
Yeah, the suit was supposed to. You wear the thing as a suit, and it's supposed to help cure what's in your whatever's bad going on in your body.
Exactly. And so Peter went to get he wanted a little vial of it to get his, because it was his dad's legacy or whatever. And then that ended up one little, part of it just dripped on his hand and it covered him. And then it took part of his essence and became, then it made him badass Spider-Man. Very much like in the canon Spider-Man, it made his powers more enhanced.
Right.
But then it also made him very angry.
Right.
Yeah. And it turns out Eddie's kind of a dick. He goes on a date with Gwen Stacy, who reminds us that she's 15 and we should not be thinking the thoughts that we think when we see her. And so I was like, okay, she's off limits. And and Eddie's kind of he was kind of douchebag light. He was just kind of first of all, he's like a little flavor saver here. And worse Caesar haircut than
that was very odd looking. He's a very odd looking guy.
Yeah.
But
nothing like the Eddie Brock in the Marvel universe that we're used to,
Right.
Whole new take.
Here it is. Let's see what he looks like. He does look kind of odd.
Yeah. They went on some weird date. It's just some of Mark Bagley's designs. I'm not. I mean, I guess they're fine, but they sometimes. I guess this is. I mean, when did this come out? Like 2000?
Let's see.
2002.
2002.
So,
okay.
It's very, late 90s, early 2000s.
I don't mind his artwork at all. I like it a lot. I will say when you see full body shots, like somebody standing, there's a problem with proportion that I think as a young artist he hadn't conquered the proportion thing yet. With people just standing up freely, because if you look at it, it's generally face shots and from the waist up and stuff. And there's not a lot of full body shots because when there are, they tend to look sort of oddly out of proportion. But see, they're always.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but I think you're right.
Really head to toe, and it's mostly from the waist up. Um,
Yeah.
I like I liked the idea that how different everything was and how um, it was a formula or a medical uh, substance that was supposed to cure cancer or help you live longer or cure whatever's in your body. And I agree that Eddie was douchebag light. He was a big whiny baby when Gwen didn't want to make out with him in his dorm.
Yeah.
And is apparently always like that. And um, so but I really dug the fact that it was a completely new concept of where Venom came from. Where I don't know that they call it a symbiote yet.
They have not. They didn't in this.
Yeah. Okay. So they don't. So it's not really a living, breathing symbiote thing yet.
Well, it was weird too to me because so Peter Parker steals a vial of it or whatever, and Eddie Brock has got a lab that he works with Doc Connors, and so he has like a locker, and so Peter got it, turned into Venom, or turned into badass fighting Spider-Man, and then got turned his own anger into Venom, and then was scared of it, and then said, "I'm going to go destroy it." So he goes and takes the beaker of it, and Eddie and him have a long, very drawn out conversation about this. Yes. And then Peter says, "I'm going to destroy it." And Eddie says, "Okay." So Peter goes to the top of some factory chimney and drops it down there. We think it's gone. We found out later that Eddie has and again, it was a little unclear to me, right? There he is destroying it. But Eddie found or has kept another beaker of it.
Right. He has kept another beaker.
But it's very unclear to me why would that, they seem to have been separated. So why would that second beaker have Peter Parker's essence in it and the powers of Spider-Man, right? In theory, they would have been separated, so they would have never touched.
Right.
As far as I know. And so I don't know quite why. So then when Eddie Brock puts it all on, becomes Venom, they kind of have this quick fight. And the other cool thing I liked about, again, regular Marvel Universe Venom is he's super affected by sound, right? Remember it was bells that had to get the symbiote off of him. And in this, it was just electricity. It seemed pretty quick and kind of easy and kind of, I don't know, not that exciting. I thought, and then we spent more time with Peter, hearing his dad talk on that VHS tape, which I found mind-numbingly boring. What's going on there? Is Mary Jane?
He and Mary Jane are constantly talking things out, and this is
they won't.
This is a big talk that they're having.
Yeah. The last issue is cool because it's just Peter, and I found it cool at least. Because this is Peter's dad talking to Peter on the VHS tape, and it's just it goes on. It's just too long, and I don't find his dad that interesting. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a baby, but
I like the interaction with Nick Shield.
That's what I was going to say. The last issue was good. Nick Fury.
Yeah, Nick Fury from Shield.
So basically, the whole last episode is Peter tracks down Nick Fury and says, "I don't want these powers anymore. Take them away from me." And he basically says no. And so here's our introduction to Doc
Connors.
Doc Connors is the same. And here's the weird, the lizard.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just
out of nowhere, sort of.
He's like, "Did you tell anyone? Do you ever tell anyone what happened that night?" And I don't know what that night is. When you found me and then you saw what I had done to myself, did you tell anyone? This is Doc Connors talking to Peter Parker. And I know we have not read that.
Yeah. No, I would remember this.
Because I like that.
That's way lizardy, more lizardy than lizard's ever been.
Yeah, and so then the end, we think before we meet with Nick Fury that maybe Eddie Brock and Venom are dead, but then we find out Peter Parker goes to his dorm room and we find out that he actually has moved everything out, and so we don't know where he is or what has become of Venom.
Right. And then there's Spider-Man 1/2, which was a total waste of a story, I thought.
Well, that's not even in mine, so I'm glad I missed
Oh,
it.
you don't have it? It's
No.
has Spider-Man number 1/2.
Yeah.
So it's utterly forgettable. So I don't see any reason to even have it in here. But I just happen to like how different a spin Bendis puts on everything for Ultimate Spider-Man. Just how different everything is. So I wasn't. I didn't. I liked it a lot, and you didn't. So I mean, that's totally. I mean, that's okay.
And again, it's still a good comic book, and you know what I mean. Like I'm not like gonna throw it away or sell it, or like I'm gonna. And I will, if I ever do an Ultimate Spider-Man read again, I will read. I'm not gonna skip it, but like it's nice to read these all in a row and kind of build on what's happening. What's happening, and so like, and I didn't love the other one from last week, and so or the trade, I compared to others, but like I like that more than this, and I'm hoping I will like the next one more than both of those.
So the rest of the Spider-Man Ultimate run is going to be new to you also.
Yep.
Okay, and it's all new to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did not dig it. I dug it and found it interesting. You found it boring and tedious. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, and again, I love my other entrance of Venom and the black Spider-Man costume, and so just like it. And again, I don't want that to be the carbon copy, but I appreciate that he tried a totally different mythology with it, and I just didn't like it.
What do you think could have made it better for you? What would have made it more interesting, that this iteration of Venom and Eddie Brock? And
I think Eddie Brock needed to be more interesting, right? I mean, I just feel like he was a whiny college kid, and their whole back history just kind of rang false to me. And you almost needed and also like now he knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man. I mean, everyone in this world knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. It's just growing naturally, but we're getting something delivered and the dog's going crazy. But it's like, I mean, I guess I would appreciate the Venom stuff more if Eddie Brock was a little more interesting. He just seemed kind of like a cartoon character. I mean, we'll read the comic book, but like kind of a cartoon villain, like kind of nothing original in him.
Okay.
So, and again, like I wonder. It just seemed kind of Bendis isn't that interested in this because, like, it just the whole, and the cool thing about Venom in the other canon is like the symbiotic, cool, weird thing. How it's a living thing. We don't get really any of that, and it just wasn't great.
Okay.
It was like a bad episode of Buffy. I'm going to rewatch all of Buffy and I'll still watch it because there'll be some kernels of goodness in it, but like not every episode's a home run, right?
Okay. Well, that is totally fair. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So that I'm sorry you didn't dig it as much as I did, but that's not going to keep us from pushing forward and reading it.
Like I said, it's still a good comic book. I just, my bar is higher now because I want to because I think the other parts are so good.
Yeah.
So
now, do you have any recommendations this week of things?
I do. Just a couple real quick ones. I'm super down on TV, and we're still watching Perry Mason, but nothing new. We've been slowed down, but I will. This is a lesson in. So I have these Firefly books. I love the show Firefly. Speaking of Joss Whedon, and Buffy, I love the Firefly show. I just watched the Firefly show with my kid, first time he's ever watched it. So he loved it. It was good to rock it. So I got this first one, and I didn't love it. Have you read any of these?
I have those, but I haven't read them because I loved Firefly too.
So Greg Pak writes it.
Who I like a lot.
I do too, but I did. So anyway, so I read this a long time ago, And when it first came out, and I didn't like it, I thought I wouldn't get the other ones, but then the other ones came out. So I was like, I'm going to order them, but I at least am learning my lesson. I reread this before I read the other ones, right? Because I was like, if I hate it as much as I remember, I'm not going to reread. I reread it and I liked it a lot more. I still don't love it compared to the show, but nothing will. And I think ultimately, I just don't love the art that much. It's just a bad. Let me try to find some of the canon characters. Like that's Jane.
Yeah.
And here's Jane. And I'll try to see if I can find Mal. Like this is not a great representation. There's Mal. I don't know. Like it's not terrible. It's just not my favorite. I'm such a sucker for these like hardcover trades.
Yeah, they're nice looking books.
They're done by Boom. They're not very expensive. I mean, I got them from IST. They're $20, which is what those cheap thin Marvel trade paperbacks are $20 now. So these are really nice hardcovers, and this is the 1 through 3 is a whole story. I know they're doing a continuation more, but this is the Unification War, and so I'm excited to finish it. I'll let you guys know what I think. They do have the same artist. This is volume 3. They have the same artist throughout. So that's not a great selling point for me, but what are you going to do? I mean, he's better than me, better artist than me. And speaking of Jim Shooter, who wrote Secret Wars, I'm such a sucker for 1990s Valiant.
Oh, those were good comics.
That was right in my heyday, right when those were coming out. And then I got them a little late. Do you remember the price spike on those things? Like the Magnus Robot Fighter was crazy.
Yeah.
But over the years, I have every issue of Valiant comic that's ever been printed, and I have this like the only kind of loose comics I keep. But I've reread more of them, and now they're kind of slowly coming out with like their old canon stuff in these not super great omnis. I don't love the way they're not the greatest of omnis, but I'll buy every one of them because I want them to keep publishing them. But this one's Bloodshot. Bloodshot was one of my favorite characters. And Valiant, I would say, and no, I don't want to disparage any of the artists, but like they didn't have the greatest art, but they had the greatest writing. That was when I really fell into and understood that comics could be really layered and interesting and still have action, but still be compelling. And I just love the writing, especially the early first couple 3 years of it when Jim Shooter was the editor in chief. When they got rid of him,
it fell off as soon as he left.
Yeah. So did you read all that stuff?
I did. I loved it. Let's see, there was Harbinger. That was good. Magnus Robot Fighter.
Yeah, Magnus Robot Fighter.
Ninjak, Turok.
Solar Man of the Atom.
Yeah. That was good. And then
Warrior.
I loved Archer and Armstrong by Barry Windsor Smith.
Do you have the Omni?
I don't. I should get that.
It's good. Because it collects the entire run. And Barry Windsor Smith did like the first 11 or 12 issues, I think, and then it was taken over by
really funny
Mike Vosberg, and Mike Barron took it over, and they pale in comparison. But still good because I love those characters. But those first 11 issues with Barry Windsor Smith really funny. I love both of those characters. They should hate each. They shouldn't work, and it's just and the artwork. Barry Windsor Smith artwork is so good. But that was I think that was some of his best writing because he's not normally that fun. I don't find him usually writing funny stuff, but he channeled Armstrong.
Yeah, when Shooter was there, I thought that was magic. Really, I mean, it was a new comic publisher, and it was every title they put out was super well done with really great writing. For the first 2 years, I was just eating up everything they put out. I loved it.
And they limited the titles because they wanted, and then they had like the Unity crossover, which was integrated really well. And I've read that recently, just that Unity run. It's so so well done. And weirdly, so there's 2 issues from each. Shadow Man is the newest.
Oh yeah, Shadow Man.
Putting out a Shadow Man Omni in the near future, which I'm going to get for sure. But like each issue had like 2 issues of Unity, and so if you read Unity, it makes a lot of sense. But then if you just read Shadow Man or Eternal Warrior, those make sense together. Like really uniquely done crossovers that just aren't done anymore. And then Jim Shooter, they ousted Jim Shooter, and it just took a nosedive. Like just quality.
Bad, but
and I started pumping out other books and like tons of books. Where are you at on the new Valiant?
I love it. I got into it when it was first coming out. I read a bunch, and I've fallen off. But I keep collecting it. I have the most recent thing I've read is Britannia, which has nothing to do with the universe at all, but it's great. I loved it.
That's kind of one of the things I don't love that they're doing is they're also like restart. There's Bloodshot has been started like 17 times. I can't even track.
I liked what I first read, and I thought it was all done really well. They've got some really good writers, but I haven't read it for a couple of years, so I
thought the Harbinger they did was really good. I thought they did a Ninjak, and then they did a Ninja K. And the Ninjak I hated because like he went I think he went to hell or he went to like another, and again like that's like James Bond with like swords, and it's like that's what I loved about the original is like he was a super spy, and there wasn't that fantastical element. And then so that was the original Ninjak, which I didn't like, and then they brought back, and then they rebooted it, and there's Ninja K, and that went back to the spy stuff. I highly recommend the Ninja K books.
Okay.
And the Archer and Armstrong, what they started a long time ago, but that is current, is really good too. It's not as good as the Barry Windsor Smith, but it's funny, it's weird, I really like it. I read all the Harbinger, I really like that. I read a lot of the Bloodshot, I like that. But it just grew to my like they do Britannia, they did the Divinity thing, which didn't have anything to do with it. It's just so it's tough for me to keep up with it because it just expanded. And I don't really follow. They had the owner. They got rid of the owner, I think, at some point, right? And I don't follow all that, but like
something like that happened.
It's changed, yeah. And that guy was the real visionary of bringing it back and kind of having the integrity of it, issues. And I think it's kind of lost something there. But to be fair, I'm not keeping up.
Dr. Mirage is really good too. I read that and liked it.
The original or the new?
The Valiant one. Current Valiant.
I have those. Yeah, I need to read those. She's a female Dr. Mirage now.
Yeah, it's really good.
I really loved the original. It had Bernard Chang's some of his earliest work, and it was like the married couple, and he was a ghost. And I thought that stuff was really charming.
Yeah, that's how it sort of works in this too.
Yeah, I have it. I need to read it because I do love that character.
Or something. Yeah.
Valiant was that, and I just remember those prices of those books, man, were ridiculous.
Yeah, and that was before eBay and stuff. You had to go to like small little cons at the Holiday Inn or something to find them.
Yeah, and then it was kind of the heyday. This was post this, but then when eBay came around, you could find them, but then they're super jacked up, and then all of a sudden they just come, buy like whole runs for nothing, basically.
Right.
Because they overprinted some of those later issues,
right?
But the early stuff with Jim Shooter, kind of masterminding it, was just so good.
Yeah, it was really exciting. I remember really liking that stuff.
And I don't think they have the rights to Solar anymore, and surely the Turok. A lot of these are gold keys. I don't quite know the legalities of that. So I don't think they're going to be able to do like omnibus of like Magnus Robot Fighter and stuff like that, because I don't think they own the rights anymore.
That stuff, that Magnus from the 90s was great.
Oh, so fun. It looks so dumb. I mean, he's wearing like a red chainmail tunic that like was like a mini skirt. I remember looking at it, I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen, but it's so well written.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's chopping these robots with just his bare hands.
It's also like with what if robots gain consciousness and
right,
and then what and he decides he doesn't want to kill them anymore and fight these rogue robots because they have souls now. But then the argument is, can a robot, a non-born being, have a soul? It was really complex and well done. It's very political. Yeah, now I want to take out all those.
Who has the rights to those now?
Someone else is publishing it. Some other publisher, because Jim Shooter wrote. There's some trade paperbacks. I haven't checked them out. David Codd in the group is a big Valiant dude, and he falls. He says those are pretty good. But again, I don't know, because if they own current rights, do they own past rights and can publish? I don't know how that works. But I just hope Valiant so far has done. I'm trying to think of the Omnis. They've done Bloodshot, Archer and Armstrong, Ninjak, Exo Manowar, and Quantum and Woody. Did you ever do the acclaimed Quantum and Woody?
I have the new Quantum and Woody. I never read the old original Quantum and Woody.
It's good. I mean, it's pretty dated, but it's still pretty funny. It's Christopher Priest writes it, and I love him as a writer. And again, sometimes he's not very funny, but sometimes when he's funny, he's very funny. And those Quantum and Woody books are very funny. They're a little clunky, I mean, I don't know how someone reading it now would never reading it before, but like you might like it just because of what it's very 90s or late 90s. But and I like the new stuff that the Valiant did too with Quantum and Woody. I thought that was good.
That's what I have, the new Valiant Quantum and
Woody. Have you read any of it, or just have it?
No. I read about six deluxes. The first 6 deluxes that came out, whatever they were. Yeah. EXO. I'd have to. It's in the annex right now. I'm trying to think of what they were, but I really enjoyed them. But then I fell off, and I'd have to start over again.
And those deluxes went ridiculously overpriced too, and people.
Yeah, because they never came back and reprinted them.
Yeah,
and they're impossible to find.
So I just have trades. I'm very agnostic on format. Like, I don't really care that much. Just like, I love it when like people put out books, or like they're going to do an Omni, and then everyone dumps their trade paperbacks. So in the Omni group, I buy all the trade paperbacks for cheap. Like I'm hoping when like Gail Simone's Batgirl comes out in Omnibus, that someone will dump the trade paperbacks for cheap, because I'm not going to pay top dollar for that Omnibus. So, but DM me below, or leave a comment if you want to sell me Gail Simone's New 52 Batgirl. I'm in the market.
Yeah, I actually, it might be me. I have it might be me.
There you go.
Let's see, where are my Batgirls? Because I am shoot, I just read them again this beginning of this year. I don't know where they are right now, but I might be your Huckleberry there.
How do they hold up?
I thought the first. Oh, okay. They weren't trades. They were hardcovers.
No.
Okay, they were hardcovers. That's why they're not there, because I already sold them. Sorry. They're hardcovers, and I already sold them because I wanted to upgrade to the omnibus. I remember that the first one is really strong, and it dips a little bit, but then I feel like by hardcover number 4, it comes back.
And then they go to Burnside, and then it totally changes when Gail Simone leaves.
Right.
And I haven't read that. I read like the first trade. I like Barbara Gordon as Oracle. I don't love her being back as Batgirl, I'll be honest. And I loved is she now Orphan? I don't know. Like I love that Batgirl. God, what's her name?
Stephanie Brown or Cassandra Cain?
Cassandra Cain.
Yeah.
Stephanie Brown's run I loved that little run, and it was perfect. I think it was a nice little thing. But Cassandra Cain was just such an interesting, and I loved that run. And it's like, why can't she be Batgirl? And the other thing I don't like is like, and I haven't read that much of current or a newer Barbara Gordon being Batgirl, but like she doesn't have her Oracle powers anymore. Not that she had power, you know what I mean? But like her whole stick was that
is weird.
And now she's just basically she's almost like a teenager running around and throwing batarangs at bad guys, and I don't know, like it's just like the whole Oracle mythology is gone, and I thought, and having her be disabled was interesting. I mean, that's not, I'm not one of these people that laments change in comic books because I can just go read old Birds of Prey, or I can go read the Barbara Gordon I like, but like I just find it weird that they just didn't make Stephanie Brown be the new continuing Batgirl or whatever. But I miss my Oracle. You know me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
That they miss Oracle.
No, just me.
Okay,
my original dissertation. All right. Next time we're going to read this book, Irresponsible, Ultimate Spider-Man, Irresponsible. And that's covering issues 40 through 45. And it looks like there's going to be some X-Men crossover. Is that Storm?
Okay.
See her? That's Storm, right? Yeah. You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Well, because at first I thought it was like Silver Sable or Black Cat or somebody.
No, I think it's Storm. But to be honest, I don't know. I just picked this out. No, I don't see any X-Men. God damn it. Oh, no, I do. Yeah, look, there's Storm.
Oh, all right.
But that's late. That's late in the game. Oh, look, here's all of them. Have you read Ultimate X-Men?
I have not. No, this is the first Ultimate stuff I'm reading besides the Ultimates.
Ultimate X-Men is not as good, if I remember correctly. Ultimate Fantastic Four starts out amazing and then hits a wall. I can't remember.
That's what I heard about that.
But it starts, it's such a good reimagining, and I can't remember where it kind of ends. But and I liked Ultimates a lot. I know it's kind of controversial, but I think it's interesting.
I liked Ultimates a heck of a lot.
Yeah, I think people hate how it's. I like how like Giant Man doesn't automatically have clothes grow with him. He like grows and he's naked. It's like, oh, this sucks. That would suck.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll read Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 7 trade paperback for next time. So keep up with us, kids.
Great. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment. And thanks to Chat OmniDog for doing this read-through with me. And thank you for watching. Peace and love. Peace and love.